I am here to show you guys some oil that I am really excited about. I mean, this don't need no introduction. It's Emsoil. You know, we all know what Emsoil is. But this is the Severe Gear 7585, which is what the F150s use. They use 7585. If you do a lot of off-roading and some aggressive towing, maybe 7590 would be a little better for you, because it's just a little bit more protective when it comes to that high heat situation. But this video is to just talk about not forgetting maintenance, man. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm gonna be changing the front diff oil. The rear diff oil is fairly new. I had the rear seal replaced like last year, like this time last year, so it's still fairly new oil, so I'm in no rush to change that. But the front has not been changed since the truck has been brand new, and the truck has over 70,000 miles on it. And as you know, since the truck is modified and tuned, I'm gonna change it a little earlier than what the service says, which the service says 100,000 miles. Okay, I'm gonna do it at 70 because of, you know, my weather is always wet, so I use my front diff quite often, and also the truck is tuned and modified. All right, but before I even get into changing it, what I want to do is drive the truck to get the front diff oil warm. Gotta make sure we put that thing 4A. Yes, sir. I'm gonna take this time while I'm driving the truck to talk about a few things related to the F150 that I think people need to just kind of hear me out about. All right, let's go. Truck, warming up the fluid in my front diff on this nice and wet rainy day. So I got plenty of wheel slip to make sure the front wheels are engaged in 4 auto on my F150. During the drive, I do want to talk about maintenance. The F150 EcoBoost platform, and when I speak of the EcoBoost platform on this channel, I'm speaking solely on a 13 gen F150. So the 13 gen F150 with the Gen 2, because that's what I have. And I'm pretty sure it relates to Gen 1 and Gen 3 as far as maintenance. Not repairs, but maintenance. So one of the things that you have to understand when it comes to the 13 gen EcoBoost F150s, one thing you need to understand is it is not the same F150 from the previous generations. Like, it is more efficient, it's lighter, okay, which means that there's things that are sacrificed to make the vehicle lighter, to make the engine more efficient. And because of this reality, we as owners, we have to put it into our schedule and make it a point to maintain these vehicles more, to keep them as reliable as the previous generations. Because as far as reliability, I believe that this platform is very reliable, but we can't maintain it like it is a 12th gen or older F150. Okay. Technology has gotten better, efficiency has gotten better, and part of efficiency has come down to weight. And the heaviest thing on most vehicles are their engines, right? So since the heaviest thing is most likely the engines, one thing you could do is downsize, right? So we went from a V8 to a V6 twin turbo. So we went that route. Also, instead of using heavier metals like iron, all right, we're using lighter metals like aluminum. All right. And while we're using aluminum, we're choosing manufacturing methods to make it also lighter in that way. Hence why a lot of aluminum engines have open deck designs. And that aids in the efficiency and the cooling of the engine itself. So you may not have the robustness of an iron engine, but you are gaining efficiency. All right. And efficiency equals better power management. So you can manage a higher peak power a little bit better with these lighter, more efficient engines. But as far as like, you know, beating the engine up, it's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to do that with a open deck aluminum engine like you would like a closed deck iron block engine. You understand? It's because of how these engines are created to be lighter, constructed a little bit thinner. The metals aren't as strong, so you gotta be a little more meticulous on number one, the engine oil. You have to change your engine oil at good intervals. Okay, the recommended interval for any modern engine is most likely not what you want to follow. You want to go a lot sooner with the oil changes. So with these advanced motor oils and stuff, how they're saying that you can go 8,000 miles between oil changes, that's false. That's false. A lot of this is part of program adolescence. If you haven't heard about it, I think you should just look into it a little bit. Program adolescence is basically, just kind of put it in a nutshell, manufacturers creating engines to fail, or creating their vehicles to fail. Componentry, body, engines, transmissions to fail. And when they throw out an interval that's outrageous as 8,000 miles, 10,000 mile oil change intervals, yes, that pretty much aids in those things failing. Okay, right outside of the warranty, which is, you know, very convenient because they don't have to pay for it. You have to either pay for it or get a new car. So either way, you know, companies are making money if you follow the interval. So I recommend that you don't follow that, especially with these modern turbocharged engines with direct injection. You know, you should go a lot earlier. You know, use your best judgment based off of how you drive your vehicle. You know, my truck has 75,000 miles on it. And what I do is I change my oil every 4,000 miles. Okay, every 4,000 miles. And because I really care about the quality of oil that I use, I go for the highest quality oil that I can get as soon as possible. So since I have an AMSOIL dealer here local to me, I just get AMSOIL. AMSOIL is a tried and true product, and it's always in the top ratings of engine oils, period. And I'm not gonna sit here and just talk about AMSOIL, but that's my choice. My choice is AMSOIL, full synthetic. Okay, these direct injected turbo engines, you should only, absolutely only be using full synthetic in these engines if you care about longevity and reliability. Okay. Next, transmission. Same thing. The intervals are long in the transmission, but I recommend you go a little bit shorter with the transmission as well, because the same reasons I just explained about the engine, about manufacturing making it lighter, making it more efficient. Okay, so that too. Now the good news is the differentials haven't really changed in a Ford product, so they're still pretty beefy and robust, right? There's still a solid axle in the back and a nice solid axle in the front too. So but if you're gonna go that route and, you know, make sure that everything's being changed with fresh oil, it won't hurt to just make sure your diffs are also changed, because as far as the internals of the diff themselves, there could be some changes there, but as far as like the construction of it, I mean, it's pretty beefy. So just change them accordingly, you know, especially the front diff. Actually, especially the rear diff, you use that more than the front, but the front is a lighter weight, lighter duty diff, so it won't be able to hold as much abuse as the rear diff in the F150. So changing those fluids definitely will benefit rather than hurt. You know, it's always better to spend a little more money in maintenance than spend a lot more money in fixing something that goes wrong because you didn't maintain it the way you should have. Okay. And the other thing, if you have four-wheel drive, transfer case. Whenever you are changing that transmission fluid, change that transfer case fluid, especially if you got the Gen 13 with a 10R80 transmission. You're most likely gonna have what is it, shift on demand, or torque on demand, and shift on the fly transfer cases. Either way, both of those transfer cases uses the same fluid as the transmission itself. So whenever you change your transmission, change that transfer case. It's better than replacing a whole transfer case because you didn't maintain it. Trust me. And also, one of the biggest things that I do want to bring up when it comes to this platform is programming and tuning. So the EcoBoost platform with the 3.5 EcoBoost and the 10R80 10-speed transmission, the programming and logic from the factory is not necessarily the best. And I'm talking about, you know, something that's relatable to me. So early 2018 and 2017 models, right? And a little bit newer. No, early 2017, because before that they didn't get 10R80s. They got 6R80s. But just be sure, okay, that your transmission is in good condition, how it feels, how it drives, okay, before you go into the tuning, because you don't really want to deal with more issues when you can just fix the mechanical issue and then get the tuning. That way it mitigates any future issues. So one thing about the 10R80 characteristics, you can get either delayed shift or hard shifts, and a lot of the major problems comes down to the valve body itself. Okay, yes, they have CDF drum issues and things like that, but a lot of it is the valve body that controls everything, and the brain of the valve body, which is the transmission control module that controls the valve body, which controls everything else, right? So with a tune, a proper transmission tune from a reputable tuner who knows what they're doing, it could eliminate some of the issues that could happen earlier, and it could push it back way further. So it'll basically allow your transmission to last longer with a proper tune, because they'll be able to adjust pressures, shift points and things like that to help the transmission not overheat, and also allow just the CDF drum, if you got an older one, to last a little bit longer, you know, and also your valve body lasts a little bit longer. But without going into further detail about maintenance of the F-150, the moral of the story is, when it comes to fluids and oils, make sure you're on top of it. This is not an F-150 from the early 2000s with a very simple design. This is modern twin turbo V6, using aluminum. Also a nice efficient 10-speed automatic, updated transfer case, things along that nature to make it a more efficient and a more potent platform for power, because who don't like power? So just make sure you're on top of it. If there's anything that I miss, leave a comment, because you know I'm only one person, and as you can see I'm driving around, so I'm kind of just speaking on the fly without using some kind of reference to help me stay on track. So I'm pulling into the house now. I can get ready to change this front diff oil, so I can do my maintenance, but sometimes I wish I knew that. Sometimes I wish I could see the temperatures on my diff front and rear differentials, but to be honest with you, I don't want to do that work for something that's not as important as, say, an engine or a transmission. Please leave a comment if you got anything to add to the video. You guys don't need to see me change my front diff. I'm pretty sure you guys are smarter than me, so yeah. Another thing, I have more videos about tuning with Cobb coming up and using Goose Tuned, so stay tuned, subscribe, like the video, because yeah, it's gonna be some good information coming up, so make sure you look into that. But with all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, good evening, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, all that jazz. God bless you. Peace.